Okay, so we're going to do this in alphabetical order, and we're going to speak in a way where we try to remain monetized. Less as an actual attempt to remain monetized, and more as a fun little game. Abasiophobia is people with impaired mobility. Pretty good. Going to give that one a probably a 6 out of 10. Acrotomophilia is your focus is on people with amputations. So that's a little bit better than abasiophobia. Going to give that a 7 out of 10. Agalmatophilia, statues, dolls, mannequins, that kind of thing. Seems weird, but actually pretty normal when you consider the booming doll industry. So I'd give that a 2 out of 10. Pretty I can see there being dolls in every household in 20 years or so. Algolagnia, pain involving an erogenous zone. This seems to be the pain-pleasure horseshoe theory in action. Gonna give this one a 8 out of 10. Andromematophilia, gonna give that one a 1.5. Anilolagnia, when the young man has fixated on the older woman, 1.5. I'm gonna skip this one, but it's a 10. I'm glad this one is in my search history. Anthropophagy, ingesting human flesh, 9 out of 10. Apotemnophilia is different from acrotomophilia, because instead of being fixated on somebody with an amputation, you are the person with the amputation. So it's pretty similar ultimately. I'm going to give that one a 7 out of 10 as well. Asphyxiophilia, being asphyxiated or strangled. Yeah, that's maybe see, the thing is it is common, but I guess it depends on how far you go. Going to give that one a 3 just because it's pretty common, pretty well known. Attraction to disability is a little broad for me to give a specific answer because it's so broad and so common. Probably going to give a 2.5, maybe a 3. Autogynastophilia, displaying oneself in a live show. So again, pretty common. Going to give that a 2. Autosassinophilia, when the focus is being in life-threatening situations / being killed. Going to give that one a solid 5. It's extreme, but it's also surprisingly common. This one seems like the other asphyxiation one, but sometimes to the point of near unconsciousness, a little bit more extreme. I'm going to give that one a 5.5. Autogynephilia and autoandrophilia, going to give those both a 3.5. Autohemofetishism, bleeding oneself, going to give that one a 4 out of 10. Autonepiophilia is, ooh, oh no, I'm going to skip these, but 10. Autoplushophilia, the image of oneself in the form of a plush. What are those YouTubers doing with the U2s? Definitely wacky, but relatively benign, kind of averages out at a 4.5. Autovampirism, the image of one's self in the form of a vampire. 8.3. Autozoophilia. I think when it's at the point where there's a community around it, that definitely takes out the sting. 2.8. Capnolagnia, 1 out of 10, that's just smoking. Cremastistophilia, being robbed or held up. Maybe a 2.2. Chronophilia, partners of widely differing chronological age. I'm going to put that one as an X out of 10. Variable. Really depends on the ages, I'd say. Why am I making this video? Coprophilia. Yep. 7. Crurophilia. This is a form of partialism. Partialism is when you focus on a specific part of the body. And I'm going to give that one a 1. Dacrophilia. Tears or crying. 1.8. Diapers. What did I give coprophilia? A 7. Going to give that one a 6.5. At least you've got something to help you out there. Dendrophilia. Trees? I'm going to give that one a 3.3. Emetophilia. Vomit. 7. Eproctophilia. Flatulence. Pyrocynical out of 10.
That joke was really aesthetically unappealing.
Okay, this one's asphyxiation again, but this one specifies of others. So if you're doing it to others, maybe like a 7.8. Erotophonophilia. Murder. Often of strangers. Give that a 9. Exhibitionism. Pretty common, but pretty extreme. Give that one a solid 5. Feederism, eating, feeding, and weight gain. Gonna give that one a 2.2. Formicophilia, being crawled on by insects. I'll give that one a like a 6.3. Fornophilia, turning a human being into a piece of furniture. I'm trying to stay composed here. 4 out of 10, like the number of legs on a table. Frauturism, rubbing against an... A person who practices frauturistic acts is known as a frauteur. I'm gonna give that one a... I don't want to do this video anymore. Gerontophilia. Nothing wrong with wanting to give old people a new lease on life, 1.5. And then there's gynandromorphophilia, which is specifically transgender women. Give that a 1.5 as well. Hematolagnia. Sounds like a kind of a toned down vampirism. I'm going to give that one a 2.8. Heterophilia. Idealization of heterosexuality and or people who are straight acting, especially by non-heterosexual people. Like a -2. Hoplophilia, firearms and guns. Hippity hoplody, get off my proplody. I guess it depends what the guns are being used for, right? I think that's a little too broad. Hybristophilia, criminals, particularly those who committed cruel or outrageous crimes. Where's the philias for the good law-abiding citizens, huh? 3? Yep. That's a skip. I guess you could say I'm not touching this one. Kleptophilia, stealing. Gonna put this a little bit lower than the robbery stuff. Maybe give it a 2.8. Clismophilia, enemas. A 1.9. Lactophilia, milk. Like a 3. Liquidophilia. I guess it depends. It depends on the liquid. Macrophilia. Giant beings. Pretty sure this is a fairly common one, although it would be hard to roleplay, I assume. Unless that's what those TikTok couples are doing. You know the ones, the short king ones. Give it a 2.1. Masculagnia. Armpits. 2.7. Another form of partialism. We're learning so much. Masophilia. This is like a 0. Masochism. This one's an old classic, an old favorite. I'm not sure the specific difference between masochism and algolagnia, but I think the difference is just where the pain is concentrated. So this one's a kind of a broader algolagnia. I'm going to give it a solid 3.5. Mesiophilia, pregnancy. Again, I think it's popular. 2.9. Mechanophilia, cars or other machines. Who can forget that lovely subreddit with the dragons and the cars? You know the one. Look it up. As far as inanimate objects go, it's pretty up there. So I'd say I feel comfortable giving this one a 4.5 as well. Melolagnia, music. I'm not someone with this one, tell me in the comments what. Actually, don't. Menophilia. Guess that's probably like a like a 1.5. Metrophilia, poetry. These are the only people at the spoken word events, I'm telling you. Microphilia, very small people or small body parts. This is a real white pill for all the little people and not very well endowed men in the audience. Morphophilia, particular body shapes or sizes. I mean, you could make the argument that everyone has a particular body shape or size they prefer, so 0.5. Mucophilia, mucus. 2. It's really saying a lot when I'm wincing at the ones that are 2. Misophilia, dirtiness, soiled, or decaying things. I guess like it depends on what's decaying. Narratophilia, obscene words. Yeah, that's like a 0.8. Nasophilia, a form of partialism focused on the nose, and also an excellent descriptor for anyone subscribed to my OnlyFans. Navel fetishism, a form of partialism located on the navel or belly button, like a 1.1. And necrophilia. It's like it's a 9. Objectophilia is inanimate objects, pretty broad. I'm going to give that one like a 1.7. Oculophilia, eyes and activity directly relating to and or involving the eyes. So that's, as a form of partialism, that's probably as high as I really want to go, considering, they're your eyeballs. Not exactly instruments to be used like this. So we're going to give this one a 5.2. Audaxilagnia, biting or being bitten, like a 0.8. Again, depends on how hard you bite, but just the concept of it, 0.8. Olfactophilia, smells and odors emanating from the body, especially certain areas, like breath and other things. Amarashi, bladder-related stuff. I'll put this with like around like a little like less than scatophilia. I'll give that a 5. Paraphilic infantilism, because it's specifically role playing, I'll give it an 8.2, because it could be worse. Partialism, very broad, a little too broad. I've already gone over the different kinds of partialism here. Why are there's like 10 entries for the same thing? Is it just me? Paeodectophilia, that's exhibitionism for men. So I'm going to give that a 3 out of 10. Pedovestism, dressing like a child. Skip, podophilia, feet, an old classic. Coming to podophilia midway through this list is sort of like, it's like you come across an old friend and you didn't even really like the friend that much, but just seeing him here after you've been through so much, it almost makes you want to just welcome him with open arms. Hey buddy, how's it going? 3.2. Pictophilia, pictures. Okay, any pictures, pretty broad. 1.1 maybe. Picarism, piercing the flesh of another person. 7. Fleshophilia. Gonna give that one a 2.3, because the autopleshophilia is worse because it's you, so it's got to be less than that. Pygophilia, partialism around the butt. Again, reading that is like a break for my mind. It's like I'm drinking cool water now. I'm going to give that one a 0.3. I'm happy to see it here. Okay, I feel like we've already talked about these 3. So let's go to shoes. Shoes, another pretty common inanimate thing. I'm going to give that one a 0.9. Somnophilia, sleeping or unconscious people. That one's a solid 8.8. Sophophilia, Learning. For the sapiosexuals in the audience. I'm trying to make jokes sometimes. I try to make the joke. I try to make a joke to like relieve the tension, I suppose. To relieve the tension. Okay. Sthenolagnia. Muscles and displays of strength. Okay. I feel like I'm playing Russian roulette and I got a blank. That's, again, probably like a 0.3, 0.4, you know? Kind of rooted in a pretty understandable thing. Stigmatophilia. Body piercings and tattoos. Like a 0.8, you know? Even when they're pretty bad, I wouldn't give this any more than like a 1.5. Okay, symphorophilia. Witnessing or staging disasters, like car accidents. If you need to stage a car accident, if you're there, I'll give that one a 9.6. Telephone scatologia, obscene phone calls, particularly to strangers, also known as telephonocophilia and scatophilia. Around the same one as narratophilia, which is when you're like, you like the dirty talk. But doing it to strangers, that really hikes up the score quite dramatically. So I'm going to give that one a 4.7. Teratophilia, deformed or monstrous people. You know, I think this one's, I'm bullish this one. I think it's on the rise. If you just look at like who has the following on TikTok, I think as it is, 3, but you know, give it a couple decades. We'll knock that down to a 1. Toucherism. Touching an unsuspecting person with the hand. Okay, this is about as low on the non-consent tree as I think we're getting. Still gonna give this one a 2.4. Toxophilia, archery. That's interesting. Not sure what the arrows are doing, but the vision I get in my head is kind of like the Robin Hood shooting the arrow off a guy's head. So if that's your thing, pretty death-defying. I'd give that like a, you know, and it's a pretty solid 9 actually. Transvestic fetishism. That's probably going to be a 1, mainly because if you're good at it, you get to be on TV. Trichophilia. That's hair. 1.2. I believe this is troilism, which is, that's basically getting cucked. This one's an old classic. I'm going to give this one a 2. Urolagnia. Water sports, as they say. 4.3. Vorarophilia. Vor. My old friend Vor. Again. You know, never was a big fan of Vor, but seeing it here really warms the soul. Warms the soul. I'm trying to make a joke to like relieve the tension, I suppose. Shall we say? So, as I understand it, there's soft Vor and hard Vor. Soft Vor being all at once, and hard Vor being in pieces. So, I'd give soft Vor. I'd give it a 4 more. 4 more, Greg. You can do 4. You can do 4. Let's do 4 more. Voyeurism. This is reminding me of troilism, and so I'm going to give that one a 2 as well. Wet and messy. I believe that's when you are covered in something like mud or cake or slime. I believe that's pretty popular, pretty common. So I'll give that maybe like a 2. Yeah, like a 2 as well. Zoophilia, that's animals. Again, when there is whole communities centered around this kind of stuff, it takes the sting out of it, but I'm still going to give it a 3. And zoo sadism. See, what a great note to end on. That, I really feel like we're hitting it out of the park with that one. Because the zoo wasn't enough. You had to add the sadism, didn't you? So, I'm going to give that one you know what? I think that's deserving of a 10. I really think it is. Thank you so much for joining me on this little journey. On this little gallivant we've had. I feel like I need to take a shower. I don't say that as like a cliche. Like I never felt like that before, but I feel like that now. I feel like I need to be warm and comfortable, and like, I don't know, I need like a palate cleanser or something. People say that like ideas are just these like, we kind of conceptualize ideas as just like these things that we put on our bookshelf, you know, these books on our bookshelf. But I think sometimes books, certain kinds of books, certainly, but maybe just too much of one kind of book, can break the bookshelf. And you need to take some time and put the books back in order. Thanks for the suggestion, Sisyphus.